there is a huge gap in Canadian business landscape. Everyone always talks about the big brands, the Fortune 500s, the companies that dominate the headlines. But the small and medium-sized businesses are the ones that are really the backbone of our communities were largely invisible. And it was not because they were not doing incredible work. The Small Business Summit is an annual celebration where we have been hosting for almost 7 to 8 years now. And especially during October, which is celebrated as the Small Business Month in Canada.
One of the missing pieces I feel with entrepreneurs and small business owners is that everybody gets caught up in doing, and you get caught up in the day-to-day. If they had to go back and give themselves at their starting point, what's the piece of advice that you would give yourself starting out with Canadian SME? What would you need to know then that would have helped you get to where you are now? Good day and welcome to the Wealthy Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Bob Gauvreau. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. This is the place where we dissect the elements that contribute to entrepreneurial success, from mindset and leadership to profits and revenue. Today, we're bringing in a friend, a strategic partner of mine who has a platform of entrepreneurs and is really leading a mission to help support entrepreneurs on their journey, which is why you can imagine he and I have connected. Today, we're going to talk about championing small business, community, visibility, and innovation. And our special guest today is the CEO of Canadian SME, SK Uddin. And this episode, we're going to talk with him a little bit about what Canadian SME is, some of the platforms that he's built, some of the future ideas that he has for helping support the small business community. And also we're going to talk about an event that we are playing a major role in, which is coming up real soon on October 24th. So make sure you check this episode out. It's going to be exciting. Just to give you a little bit of a background, SK is a key figure in the Canadian small business sector, known for his influential roles as the founder and editor of Canadian SME and the publisher of Indigenous SME magazine. Through these platforms, he delivers invaluable insights and support to entrepreneurs and small business owners, highlighting the unique challenges and successes within the Canadian and Indigenous business communities. In addition to his editorial work, SK amplifies his impact by hosting the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, which I have definitely been on a few times, engaging with business leaders and innovators to share knowledge and inspiration. He is also the force behind pivotal industry events such as the Small Business Summit I just talked about, the Small Business Show, and the Canadian SME National Small Business Awards, which we're going to chat about a little bit more as we get going, creating a vital opportunity for networking, learning, and celebration within the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Guys, it's my pleasure to bring SK in today because he's continuing to work on a platform to have small businesses across Canada heard, inspired, and educated in how they can succeed going forward. So without further ado, please welcome SK Uddin onto the show. All right, everybody. Great to have you here today. Excited that I have my friend SK Oden on the show today. He is an entrepreneur, just like many of us, who has a really great story and a really great platform. And SK, I'm really excited for you to share a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. I know coming to Canada was a start, and sort of how that journey has gone and where you are today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Robert. It's really a pleasure to be here and have the chance to talk about something so close to my heart, supporting and empowering Canadian SMEs. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So, Robert, like when I first started, I noticed this, like there is a huge gap in Canadian business landscape. Everyone always talks about the big brands, the Fortune 500s, the companies that dominate the headlines. But the small and medium-sized businesses, the ones that are really the backbone of our communities, were largely invisible. And it was not because they were not doing incredible work. I believe it was just there was not a platform celebrating them or giving them a voice. That's when I thought, why not create a platform that empowers SMBs across Canada, a space where their stories can be shared, where they can feel recognized, and where they can learn from and connect with each other. So creating a community has always been central to my vision, because entrepreneurship can feel very lonely, and small business owners deserve to know they are not alone. And honestly, Robert, like every story we share reminds me why we do this. It's not just about the magazine itself. It's about giving business owners the voice and visibility they deserve.
So SK, this is exactly, we've talked about this before, but our commonality and our passion for working with Canadian small to medium sized businesses, entrepreneurs, it's something this group is, I know you're probably similar, but they just have such a draw to me. And I know the impact that they have in our communities, in our country, in our world ultimately is so high. And, my passion to support them is so high as well. And I know this is something that you've done. You've created this voice for everybody. Now, not only did you create Canadian SME, but you also created Indigenous SME as well. Do you want to maybe talk about that a little bit too and how that got started?
Yeah, so back in 2022, Robert, like I got to know a great indigenous entrepreneur from Vancouver. So his name is Darian Kovacs. So he runs a Jelly Academy digital marketing agency. So we were having common goals and common, mission. So we met briefly, and I realized that we can do something great for the indigenous entrepreneurs as well. So as you know, Robert, representation matters is very very important. So in June 2022, during the National Indigenous History Month, I saw there is a gap for indigenous entrepreneurs as well. Their stories need to be heard. Indigenous entrepreneurs and indigenous businesses needed a platform or a magazine. Where they can be seen and they can be heard. So this is how indigenous SME was a natural realization. Like as I mentioned, it was not about giving them a nationwide platform where their achievements could be recognized and celebrated. At the heart of it, it's all about connection, empowerment, and opportunity for indigenous entrepreneurs across Canada.
So between the two magazines that you've created, the two platforms that you've created, how many hands do these messages get into monthly? Like how many viewers do you have of your magazines every month?
So for the Canadian SME, we are reaching around more than 150,000 small
It's
business.
amazing. It's
Yes.
amazing.
And for the indigenous entrepreneurs also, we are reaching more than 30,000 entrepreneurs, and we are still trying to build those platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Good for you. And you know what? Starting that from scratch, right, is not an easy task, and building a team, and especially coming, like you mentioned, as an immigrant coming into Canada and starting out without any connections and relationships. That's quite impressive that you've built that platform. So, we sort of talked about these two media sources or platforms and what they've done. Can you talk about the impact that they have in our communities? Like I know we said, hey, what we're trying to do is create a voice, but what sort of voice has been heard, and what sort of impact have these platforms had with entrepreneurs and indigenous entrepreneurs as well?
A great question, Robert. One of the biggest challenges we face is actually reaching small and medium-sized business owners, because they can be anywhere, from a main street shop to a tiny, storefront down an alley. There are different stages of growth and using all sorts of technology. The budgets are tight, time is scarce, and frankly, there's a lot of noise in the marketplace today. So Canadian SME exists to cut that noise. It's a trusted space where business owners can learn, gain visibility, and feel connected to a larger community. And when it comes to Indigenous SME, it plays a similar role, highlighting stories that might otherwise go unseen. And our goal has always been to bring these entrepreneurs together, share their experiences, and provide practical resources and recognition that help them grow. Ultimately, it's about giving entrepreneurs a platform that feels personal, inclusive and actionable, where they can feel empowered to take their next step with confidence. And the impact both the publication has is a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners from every community, they mentioned, they feel confidence, they feel empowered as They say like there is a platform in Canada where like Canadian SME and Indigenous SME where their stories are heard. A lot of people came to know about their, like about their personal journey, about their businesses. So like I feel very happy when I see there is an impact about like what we are doing.
100%. And, every now and again, you get some good looking people on the cover of those magazines, right? I will give you complete credit. I remember the first time, and it would have been years ago at this point, that I saw the Canadian SME cover, and I started to go through the content that's in there. It is a really great magazine and a great publication. And you and your team do such a wonderful job show not only, sharing insights, which I think is a huge component, is getting good information into the hands of those small business owners, but also sharing the stories of those entrepreneurs. And I know, you had a podcast as well that I know I was part of back in the day too. So sharing those stories has definitely been something that I think has been extremely powerful, and something that, I think our small business community is really grateful that you guys do this, because it is definitely something that's pretty special. Let's talk about some of the highlights and intention of these magazines and platforms, because ultimately what we're looking to do, right, with this is build connection through content and conversation, and continue to have that platform for people to share those insights. Now, I'm sure based on your experience, there's been some people that you've had come through the magazine and some people that have shared some of those stories. What are some highlights of some really great examples that you've had, or some people that you've had on the platform that you'd like to share?
So there was like, Robert, like there was an entrepreneur from Mississauga. Like we did an interview and we also invited him to our podcast as well. As you already mentioned, the small business podcast that I have been doing since last 4 years. So you won't believe, like, we record 4 to 5 podcasts per day. So
Wow.
yeah, so my like my intention behind recording these so many podcasts is like, we have 1.2 million small businesses across Canada, and 90% of my podcasts are not paid; they are free. So as I told you in the starting, like I want to create a platform where these small businesses can come and share their story. So that's my vision. That's my mission and vision. So 90% of our podcasts are unpaid. So like the entrepreneur that I mentioned earlier about, so he's from a tech background. Like he started the business back in 2023, and he was struggling to like to get connected with the right people, to get the right awareness for his business, the right exposure for his business. So our platform, when we, like did the interview with him, like, he said to me personally, like, it helped me to gain a lot of exposure for his personal branding as well as for his business. So in the podcast as well, he spoke like, platforms like Canadian SME, like platforms like the small business podcast, they empowered them, like, they made them visible to a lot of different networks. He was able to gain a lot of business after getting, like published in the magazine, as well as, getting his interview published on the small business podcast. So my heartfelt wish was always there to give entrepreneurs a nationwide platform where their stories could be heard and celebrated. And Robert, the beauty of it is the real practical experiences they share, the lessons learned through sweat, trial, and persistence. That kind of insight simply can't be taught in a book or in a seminar. We have had incredible conversations with business leaders, founders, and change makers, and every story inspires action, Robert, like builds connections and remind everyone listening that they are a part of a larger entrepreneurial community. And every time I hear a story that resonates, it reminds me why we do this work. It's not just about content, like it's about empowering the people behind the businesses.
100%. Okay, so you've got these two large media platforms, right? That we've created. These are some wonderful world class magazines. You've created a podcast 4 years with how many episodes a day are you recording? That it's crazy to me. That's a lot of work. However, numbered daily podcasts is like I'm tough to get one weekly because of time. So congratulations on that. Let's talk about your third major platform. And I think something that is going to be extremely powerful, not just that it has been so far, but into the future. And this one specifically is your Small Business Summit 2025. Can you tell me a little bit about the Small Business Summit that you've created?
So after the pandemic, Robert, everyone was doing virtual events, remember, back in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where when I launched the first edition of the Small Business Summit. So it was very tough to bring people online and, get the engagement that we used to get in the, in-person events.
Yeah.
So the Small Business Summit is an annual celebration where we have been hosting for almost 7 to 8 years now. And especially in during the month of October, which is celebrated as the Small Business Month in Canada. It's a gathering for entrepreneurs, from across Canada to learn, to network, and gain actionable insights. So this year, the theme is, AI-driven innovation, empowering Canadian SMEs. And we are expecting more than 3,000 attendees from across Canada and the small and medium-sized business owners. It's a unique opportunity, Robert, to hear from keynote speakers, participate in expert panel discussions and build partnerships that have real impact. It's larger than life, but at its core, it's about providing practical tools and knowledge that empowers, entrepreneurs who can apply them immediately. So I invite every small business owner to join us. It's more than just an event. It's a national movement celebrating Canadian entrepreneurship. You can find all the details at smesummit.ca, and I promise it's an experience you won't forget.
Absolutely. And yours truly will definitely be there. I know I'm speaking. We are a sponsor for the event. Our team will be there during the day. It's share maybe just the date and the location, would you, SK?
Yes, yes. So it's on October 24th, and it's at the Metro Toronto Convention Center in downtown Toronto.
Yeah. So this is a major event, guys, as far as, the SME community, small business entrepreneurs looking to get together. There's going to be some insightful speakers. There's going to be some great opportunity for connection and collaboration. One of the missing pieces, and sorry, SK, I'm just going to rant here for a second. One of the missing pieces I feel with entrepreneurs and small business owners is that everybody gets caught up in doing, and you get caught up in the day to day. And one of my mentors back when I used to work with Tony Robbins, his name is Keith Cunningham. He wrote a book called Thinking Time. And we need to have dedicated time thinking and planning about what the future looks like. And I just spent last week, or maybe this week, I don't even know. I've been caught up in the doing and not planning phase as well. And it can be cumbersome and frustrating. And you feel like you're in a wheel that you just can't get out of. You need to give yourself the time. And so I'm going to say half of an hour just with a whiteboard, starting to plan out what 2026 looks like for myself and my team. And all of a sudden, I got re-excited about the possibilities. The Small Business Summit that is going to take place on the 24th at the Metro Toronto Convention Center is with a room full of people who are going to spend thinking time together, collaborating, creating insights. Everybody's opportunity and expectation should be that you come away with at least one insight that's going to make 2026 the best year yet. And I guarantee you, with the speakers that are there and the people who are involved, you will, without a doubt, be able to do this. But one of the things that, in the last couple of years has made the largest impact on my business moving forward is related to strategic partnerships. And for those of you who listen to the podcast, I talk about this every now and again, but I do feel like this is one of the most powerful ways for you to continue to get in front of an audience of your clients, is connecting with other entrepreneurs who are doing something similar but different, or are supporting your target market in a different way. And maybe there's a collaborative opportunity for you guys to strategize and work together to essentially build a whole new avenue or new growth strategy for your business. I'll give you one quick example. We've got a financial advisor who's in the western part of Canada. They have a very similar sized business to us. They offer financial planning and insurance related services. We offer CPA, accounting, type services, complementary, distinct, and very separate. But you know what? He's got a lot of clients that I'm not serving, and I've got a lot of clients that he's not serving. So, what a great opportunity for us to partner up in a strategic relationship and say, hey, why don't I support your clients and you support my clients? All our clients will be in a better position, and we're going to do that together. These are the opportunities that can be found with 3,000 other small business owners who are in this space that SK and his team are putting on. So I can't advocate enough for you to want to be there. We will make sure in any of the speaker notes or anything below the comments, we will have access to getting to this summit. Guys, it's important for you to spend this time working on your business. Sorry, SK, I kind of took away for a second, but it's so important to drive home the relevance and the power of this particular day. You've been doing this for a few years now. So what are maybe some of the highlights that you would have from hosting this event over the last few years?
So this time, we are as like since last 4 years, Amazon Canada is the presenting partner for the event. So they are coming out with an exclusive keynote, and as you mentioned, you are one of the speakers, and I believe you will be sharing very important, very valuable knowledge with the attendees. And so the main highlights are we have three panel discussions, which is on digital transformation, which is on AI and other important topics. So, and we have around this time for the first time, we have around more than 12 workshops at the summit. So people from and getting a lot of interest from the attendees this time here, as the talk of the town, the AI. Everyone is talking about the AI, but yeah, but in this summit, all our partners, all our supporters, the panelists, the workshop presenters, and the keynote speakers, they will be sharing the practical advice, like how to implement AI in in their businesses. So that will be the main highlight.
And I think I might even be on a panel talking about AI. And I will tell you, first and foremost, I am not an AI expert, but here's the value of the panel. Right? There will be AI experts on the panel, and I will be telling you from a practical small business owner's perspective how we're implementing it and our plans and our strategy for it. Even though I'm not the expert, it's how are we addressing it and what are we looking for as a growing business that others can learn from. So that's the power of the panel, which is pretty great. There's never been an event that I've gone to where I haven't felt like, okay, this event has brought me some serious value. This is also why I listen to podcasts and audiobooks. You listen, you have one takeaway, and sometimes your brain just goes off into the distance and you start thinking and dreaming and planning. And the importance of spending this time, I can't overshare, but really excited, SK, to be part of this, and really excited to see where this event continues to go and grow, and to have 3,000 entrepreneurs in one place is going to be a pretty powerful moment. So thank you for letting me be part of it, but also for making that commitment, because hosting a 3,000 person event is no small feat. It's a lot of people, a lot of logistics, and congratulations to you and your team for doing this once again. Okay, so we've hit these wonderful platforms. You've got with the magazines, you've got your podcasts, you're putting on a major event. You do one other thing. I shouldn't say one other thing. I'm sure you do thousands of other things, but one other fairly large scale item is that you have the Canadian SME National Small Business Awards. Can you talk to us and share a little bit about what those are all about?
So this, the National Business Awards is very close to my heart. Like back in 2019, when I was having a meeting with the RBC team in their office in downtown Toronto, and in the background, my mind was working. Like there is not a platform where there are different business awards, and I respect what they are doing, but specifically for small businesses. So celebration is incredibly powerful, Robert. Entrepreneurs put their heart and soul into their businesses, often working long hours and taking enormous risk. To publicly acknowledge that effort, it's inspiring not just for them, but for the whole community. And we are very grateful to our partners like Google Canada has been our presenting partner since last 3 years, like who help amplify this recognition. Like their support allow us to highlight the incredible achievements of Canadian SMEs on a national scale, creating visibility for them, credibility and inspiration for others to follow. So recognition isn't just a pat on the back, it's a catalyst for confidence, growth and leadership. So every year since last 6 years, we were successful to invite and gather around 500 entrepreneurs from across Canada. And we have more than 25 categories, Robert, in for the Canadian SME National Business Awards.
Man,
We recognize the hard work of every entrepreneur from every industry and background.
it's so great. It's so powerful. And I know we are proud to have been a recipient of the Professional Services Award in the past as well. And it's interesting because awards and recognition sometimes get a bad rap, right? Where people are like, well, we don't need that recognition. And it's like, guys, small business owners, it's not about you. I've got two pieces on that. First, I'll maybe take a different direction. Business owners, we don't really get an opportunity to celebrate our success. Why? Because sometimes, that success comes with it accolades, extra attention. It comes with maybe some sort of financial recognition, right? Like when we're succeeding, other people aren't necessarily excited for us. But as a community of small businesses, we need to celebrate the achievements of each other. And we understand the hardships and the challenges as an entrepreneur of what you've built, what you've grown, the risks you've taken, the financial challenges that you've probably had, the birthdays missed, the anniversaries missed, there's so much of that. And so when we do win, we should recognize each other for that. And let's continue to support each other's growth and winning. And I think this celebrates that in a really, really great way. And so the other side is that awards, when people say, well, I don't necessarily need this recognition. And you go, well, but it's not about you. It's about the team that's with you as well. Like, yes, let's celebrate you. And no, you don't need to, but let's do that. Like, let's all be proud of you for a minute. But also, by getting recognized in these categories, depending on the categories, I know for us, it was professional services. What greater way for my team to feel proud of the work that they do than to be recognized on a national stage by the Canadian SME National Small Business Awards for being the leader in professional services? How's that for purpose and recognition for all that they contribute, right? So once again, SK, like huge kudos to you guys for creating the forum to celebrate this for the business owners and for the teams that support those business owners, because it's not like we get constant recognition, and it's really nice to be able to celebrate these wins and recognitions together. What is next for Canadian SME? What is next on your platforms? What's your next big unveil, or what does the future look like?
It's a very good and tough question, Robert. Like as an entrepreneur yourself, we get ideas daily, right?
Too many.
Really, on daily basis, some of your team members and my team members, they get pissed off, like, okay, just previous 8 days. And so, see, I believe entrepreneurship is not for everyone. But,
No.
because the kind of energy, the kind of, the kind of satisfaction it provides, and it is not for the people who are in the comfort zone. It is for the people who doesn't look the clock. It is for the people who are not stick to a plan. So, it is for the people who are ready anytime. So coming back to your question, there's a lot of happening, though I will keep a little mystery for now, but in the long run, we plan to take our small business summits and the small business show events to other cities across Canada and eventually beyond. For now, I'm very excited to share that we are soft launching a social media platform exclusively for the small and medium business owners. My mission is to bring in all 1.2 million small and medium enterprises on one platform. So it's called the Small Business Hub. This will be a space where entrepreneurs can connect, share educational content, network, build partnerships and gain visibility among a highly engaged niche audience. It's a new way. It will be a new way to bring the Canadian SME community together and, like support growth on a national scale. When we launch, I encourage everyone to check it out. It's going to be a game changer for Canadian entrepreneurs and the platform called the Small Business Hub.
I love that. That's exciting. Okay. Well, I would love to know what else you're keeping from us. It's with that sort of big announcement, but that's really exciting. Congratulations. That's a huge initiative and undertaking, and I'm excited to test drive it. When it comes out, do you know the date that you're launching it yet?
So soft launch, we are planning for the first week of November.
Okay, great. Oh, so it's coming in hot here very soon. Well, that's exciting. Okay, last question that I just want to leave you with. I normally ask entrepreneurs who've been on a bit of a journey that if they had to go back and give themselves at their starting point one piece of advice that they know now, what's that piece of advice that you would give yourself? SK just starting out with Canadian SME, what would you need to know then that would have helped you get to where you are now?
The one piece of advice, I will not say advice, I will say suggestion. Yeah. That-
There, yeah, the disclaimer is in the bottom of this. Yeah,
Yeah.
video.
I will say like aspiring entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs who have just started, ask for help. There are entrepreneurs like like you, Robert. There are entrepreneurs like me. There are many entrepreneurs in every city and every like across Canada. Ask for help. If you are in tech industry, ask for help in with the tech leaders for advice. When I say ask for help, like it can be in any way. So asking for help will make your journey very smoother, and it will stop you from making any mistakes.
Absolutely. And at least it will minimize those mistakes. Like we're probably going to continue to make them, but
Right.
you know what? I've made a lot. So if you want to ask me advice, I can tell you what not to do in 100 different ways. And I think that's an important note, SK. I think it's really important to lean on those that have been there and done that before, and maybe find somebody who has accomplished what you want to and pick their brain on what it is that you need to know. I think that's a really, really great piece of advice. Listen, my friend, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and it's a pleasure to continue to be partnered up with you on certain other projects like events, and really excited to see where the future takes you going forward.
Robert, thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful to share this journey, Robert, and I hope our conversation inspire listeners to believe in their vision, connect with their communities, and find their voice as entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And for everybody listening, once again, October 24th, the Metro Toronto Convention Center. It's a one-day event, 3,000 entrepreneurs. We're going to make sure that we include the information, but make sure that you get there and spend some time thinking about you and your business and planning for your future. But for everybody, thank you so much for joining the Wealthy Entrepreneur Podcast today. I am your host, Bob Gauvreau. It is always a pleasure to have you here. And listen, we're here to empower entrepreneurs with the financial knowledge they need to make informed decisions so that together as entrepreneurs, we can move the world forward to a better place. There's been some great insights here. If there's something that you know can be shared or should be shared with someone else, grab this, share it out. Once again, we want this information to get into the hands of the most amount of people, looking at platforms like Canadian SME and sharing this information out so that we can help support entrepreneurs. That's what SK and I are really trying to do. If you have any questions, put comments in there. Make sure you give us a follow, right? Every week we come out with a new entrepreneurial story, some form of teaching or new insight or thought or way that we can help improve your business. So make sure you give us a follow, because we're here every single week to share this information with you. We don't want you to miss out on this. Once again, trying to support you along your entrepreneurial journey. Guys, once again, thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to be here to share some insights, and I look forward to having you again next week. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.